Absolutely nobody plays Need for Speed World anymore.
This is Friday Night Party Line, episode 91 for April 10th, 2015. Here on the show tonight, we have Churba. Hey, Churba.
Oh shit, I thought you were still doing that fucking intro thing that you say beforehand. What the fuck? Wasn't even paying attention.
Mm. How you doing, Churba? You doing good? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I'm doing alright, eh? Nothing much
Okay.
interesting going on.
Yeah. And
Just
as always, from the northern land of New York, hey, Nelson. How you doing, man?
hello. How
Hello.
about them Yankees?
Nelson, what's
That's
the
a sports
sandwich
ball
of
thing,
the
right?
week?
Sandwich of the week. Oh, I had a really good, like a pulled pork kind of, not a cubano, but like similar, no pickles. It was pretty good. Made me
Sounds
very
good.
sleepy after like 2 p.m. And it was a Friday, and I realized I have more work that I should be doing until the end of the workday. And then I watched 4K video of SpaceX launching rockets for like 3 hours while doing other work. But
Uh, I'm surprised with all that meat you didn't go food coma-y.
I was very close.
And as an in-studio guest, we have once again the wonderful Amanda. Hey, Amanda.
Hi. In studio,
The enthusiasm is just overflowing.
I know. She's bouncing off the walls in here, honestly.
That's your problem, not mine.
For real. Anyway, so let's get going with the topics at hand here. Let's see. Ba-ba-ba-da-da. We've got. All right, first up on deck. So, movies recently from comic books have been flooding the theaters. We've got lots of remakes. And one of the big things these remake movies bank on is nostalgia of the audiences. And while a lot of them have been arguably good, some of them not so much. And yet they are still seeming to resonate with their audience. So the question I have for our wonderful panel today is a movie banking on nostalgia? Is that nostalgia factor in and of itself enough to make it a good movie?
No.
And
Next question.
it has to have technical proficiency, and it has to have narrative proficiency, and it has to have acting and light design and sound design and all the things that make the movies be good. I think nostalgia is definitely a component of marketing. And I think if someone were to say, "Hey, we are remaking Dune, but actually not sucky," I would maybe go watch that. I think there's two things, right? There's movies as adaptations of other works, right, and banking on that nostalgia,
Lord of the Rings.
they're recently, yeah. And then there's movies as remakes of other movies, which is weird. And I can understand it if it's like a technical, high def, whatever. Like certain movies
RoboCop.
RoboCop was, you know what? It was a pretty good remake. It was very similar to the original RoboCop, but it was high tech. It was a sci-fi movie that actually had good effects now. Like that is okay.
And it also addressed issues more concurrent with the times, rather than, what we were thinking about in, 80s, early 90s?
Yep. Yeah, like I would watch. You know what? I would watch a remake of maybe not The Matrix because it holds up, and maybe not 2001 because that also holds up. But like Event Horizon, I would watch a high fidelity remake of Event Horizon.
I'd watch a remake of Avatar as long as they made it so that it was good.
Yeah.
Which Avatar?
I
The
think-
Blue Cat People Avatar or Avatar: The Last Airbender?
Fuck it, either or. Combine the two.
Yeah. I think if we didn't have such strict copyright laws, it would be really interesting to see more remakes as reimaginings, because we don't really have those anymore. Like, the Disney movies, the like canonical early Disney movies, are remakes of older works, but they're remakes as reimaginings. Sometimes in a good way, sometimes in a Bowdlerization way, but they are a perfect example of remakes that have merit in their nostalgia, right?
Right.
The 100,000 bland Cinderella movies are the opposite. They're trying to bank on nostalgia. You wouldn't watch that if you weren't super into Cinderella, but they don't bring anything to the table.
I don't know.
Another
One
way
of
to
them
put it
brought
is-
Moesha as Cinderella. That was pretty cool.
There's
That's-
also a lot
yeah.
of them where you probably wouldn't watch it if it didn't have the same kind of font and drawing style, though not animation style, on the front cover as the Disney original. There is quite a few bargain bin Cinderellas who are literally trying to be confused with the Disney Cinderella so that you buy them.
But then again, on the other hand of that, there is recent remakes of traditionally Disney movies, or rather not Disney, but classic movies like the new Wizard of Oz movies.
There's a new Wizard of Oz movie?
Yeah, with Mila Kunis
Is it
and James
good?
Franco.
It's just called Oz.
I thought
Oh, yes, that one. I
Yeah.
heard not good things about that. I never saw it.
I heard there was a lot of shower scenes and things, but it might have been the one with Jonah J. Jameson guy.
Here's another interesting thing. Adaptations of old plays, maybe some Shakespeare, maybe in a modern retelling.
Story.
Are you trying to bait me into talking about Macbeth from 2009 in Melbourne Gangland again? Because I fucking will.
It's yeah.
It is the best.
Pretty much. Here's the best thing about Shakespeare, apart from making the English language cooler. The best thing about Shakespeare is that you can reimagine any Shakespearean play in a gangland setting, and it works perfectly.
Yes, absolutely.
There was also that one Romeo and Juliet movie that was just it took place
That's
in
me by
LA, and
Longsword?
it was
Yeah.
what?
Pass me my
He
longsword. Hands him
And
a
it's
fucking pistol.
no. It was a like futuristic rifle. It was smash cut to the futuristic rifle in its like rifle rack, and it said longsword on the side. It was amazing.
Oh, and even better, they pull out pistols earlier in the movie, like the opening scene. They're at a garage station. They have a shootout.
Oh,
Someone
man, that
says
was
something
the
about
best.
their sword, and it does the exact same fucking self-satisfied smug bullshit. Smash cut to the side of this guy's very clearly a Beretta, and it just says sword 9mm down the side. And that was about the point I fucking checked the fuck out.
That movie would have been much better if it had been directed by Guy Ritchie. Because it was
Yes.
trying to be a Guy Ritchie movie, but it was not a Guy Ritchie movie.
My sister Victoria asks, what about Macbeth with Patrick Stewart?
That's another good, not necessarily a reimagining, but like a straight up. That's the straight up adaptation, right?
Yeah.
Am I not confusing it? Yeah.
was.
Actually,
And that
I'll be
was
honest,
fantastic.
I think almost every adaptation of Shakespeare that I've seen to like other settings, other things, has been better than maybe 90% of the ones I've seen that try and play it dead straight.
Yeah, it's.
Yeah.
I feel like reimaginings amongst different media are generally better, and that's kind of a loaded statement.
Well, I mean, I don't think it's too loaded. I mean, an adaptation implies an additional injection of creativity, which, brings something new to the table, which is always good.
Yeah,
I'm gonna
I mean,
say
which-
something controversial. I did not like the Lord of the Rings movies that much.
Oh,
Which
And
one?
I think they were a very close and what's the word? Not diverging
Faithful.
too much.
Accurate?
They were a very faithful adaptation of the books, which were long and meandering, and you would be in a fucking field for like an hour watching the characters walk to the other side of the field. That was perfectly accurate. And that is why I did not enjoy the movies that much.
Yeah, the internet even then summed up the whole of the Lord of the Rings movies much better with that one stupid music video. They're taking the hobbits to Isengard.
No, I think they summed it up much better with that one stupid gif that involves launching hobbits via trebuchet.
That being said, the movie was very technically brilliant. It was well written. It was well acted. It was a great movie. It was just very accurate to the plotting tone of the books.
Oh yeah.
Weirdly enough,
Especially
my
the
whole
new
time-
ones.
Yeah, I don't even want to talk about those. Those are that is almost a reimagining gone bad, because The Hobbit is a really good, concise book, but it is now 3 very long movies.
Because they added in the lost stories, that's why.
Mm-hmm.
So they
As a-
extended that. It is not actually a full adaptation of the book. I like that book.
Mm-hmm.
As a weird coincidence, I met a grand total of 3 people who were from this part of the world, Australia and New Zealand, when I was living in England. One was a Maori guy that I met randomly when I was working as a charity door knocker, which sucked. Well, not that I met him, but working as a charity door knocker. The other was a woman who was about 45 from Perth that I just randomly bumped into in a tiny village. The last one was a guy who actually worked for Weta Workshop, and we had a nice long conversation about props and how they made the armors and everything else, because it was at a display at Leeds Armories. They had all of the armors and weaponry and all sorts of business out on display. The level of detail that went into that shit is amazing. There is so much detail on these things that it just doesn't even come up on the screen, even in the high-def, Blu-ray, whatever, what have you. You can't see this shit, but they still went to incredible lengths to make everything perfect.
Didn't the Lord of the Rings movies also release on at IMAX theaters too?
Like they did.
Probably.
Same for the Chronicles of Narnia. The same deal with their stuff. Highly intricate, but really no reason for it.
Oh,
You
it's
know
because it's
what?
wet. I just like it.
Talking about Hobbit, a better, I would say, a much better adaptation of The Hobbit to film was the animated movie from the early
The animated movie
'90s,
freaked
mid
me
'70s.
out.
I can't really place when it
That
was.
thing was creepy.
Yeah.
It was super
Living-
creepy, but it
Yeah.
was very accurate and it was entertaining.
Living
Good
in
sort
a
of, like,
in the land
10-year-old
of
me.
Shire was a brave little hobbit whom we all admire.
Yep.
I'm going to take 5 for Victor to just keep
Here's-
going. Well, I don't make something.
Here's actually an interesting adaptation. So, the other evening, I watched a 2-hour critique of the entirety of the single-player campaigns from all of the Call of Duty games, because I am a nerd.
Yes.
It was really interesting revisiting the first game, which, by the way, was fantastic. Because the first game is basically a game adaptation of Band of Brothers on the American campaign and Enemy at the Gates for the Russian campaign. But the viscerality of being in, Karantan or in Stalingrad while everything's going on, I still have vivid memories of every single scene in those campaigns.
Oh, sure.
And
I mean,
Yeah.
that's one of the things video games are excellent at. They're great at creating those solid memories.
Mhm.
Like, I don't. If they ever made a movie of Spec Ops: The Line, I don't think it would have
yes.
anywhere near the impact as that one part of the game, which I will not spoil for anyone listening.
They did make a movie, and it had a pretty big impact, and it was called Apocalypse Now.
Yeah, you know.
That's an interesting thing because
Mhm.
both Spec Ops: The Line and Apocalypse Now are adaptations of what is it called? Book. Oh my god,
I know.
it's on the tip of my tongue. Churba, Apocalypse Now was an adaptation
Okay.
of Heart of Darkness.
Yes,
Um,
that's it.
But they're both reimaginings of the same, themes and the same tropes of that book in much more kind of topical scenarios, right?
Mm. It's also pretty interesting how Spec Ops: The Line actually talks to you, the player.
We could do a whole show about Spec Ops: The Line, and you know what? We probably should.
But we won't. But not
Not
today.
right now.
You want to do it next week
Yes.
for Acceptable Vices?
Victor,
Yeah.
Victor, in honor of Game of Thrones coming back, what do you say to the god of doing tangents?
Go and get fucked, you
What
bastard.
Game of Thrones?
Um,
Tangents
I tell
are
you
coming? I don't know.
He wants
So-
you to say, but not today.
Okay,
Yeah.
not today.
so,
Okay.
Game of Thrones actually brings up another interesting topic. Sorry, I'm kind of taking over the show right now,
that's
but
all right.
doing an adaptation of a work that not only is a bunch of spoilers, and there's spoilers in the book that then come out in the TV show, but also doing an adaptation of a work that's still in progress, right?
Yeah.
Because the books are not done and might never be. And the show is very quickly catching up to where the books have, ended.
Yeah, the show is also reportedly going to diverge from the books somewhat. Some people are going to die, some people are going to stay alive. That's
Mhm.
not a spoiler because, let's face it, that's inevitable. But I find it interesting that they're doing that, especially considering how much they've kind of kept it very church and state when it came to the books and the TV show. Nothing's meant to cross and affect each other except where they share through lines.
Mhm.
Which is quite different from other adaptions where that sort of thing has happened, where it's an adaptation of an incomplete work, like 2001. The movie and the book were written and made at the same time. And they affected each other. Yes, indeed. My throat feels like it's filled with Wheat Bix and kerosene, so I'm not going to do a falsetto today.
You know what? Another thing I really like is things that bank on nostalgia that are sort of adaptations, but that fill in the blanks. Like the Game of Thrones game has characters from the show and the books, but is not about them, and it kind of fills in the blanks of what's happening over here while all this crazy business is going on. I really think there's that kind of, those plots are underused, and I would really like to see more adaptations of those.
So one of the things that really strikes me about the power of nostalgia is how well it can kind of energize a fan base. So taking a skew a little bit off to the side here, all these different works like Game of Thrones and everything like that, they all have like a measurable economic value. You can measure how much merch Game of Thrones sells or things like that. My question is that what kind of economic addition to a work does something like fan art provide? Because we all go to anime conventions and gaming conventions, and we see these artist alley booths filled with these buttons and pins and stuff. What does that add to the work?
A really good segue, apparently.
I think that they don't provide. I mean, they obviously don't provide direct economic value, but I think the like making people more informed definitely has some kind of economic value that no one really knows what it is yet. The like getting your work out there value, but they also provide cultural value, which is not really something that suit and tie business dudes really understand. But everyone else seems to pretty much grok that cultural value is pretty cool.
I went, and about maybe a year ago, I went and talked to the head of the economics department at my old university about this very thing, and she was very certain that it adds no economic value, but it really doesn't make any sense to me that it wouldn't, because
What?
I mean, that's what she said. I don't get it either, but to me, I look at these things like fandoms and stuff, and I'm like, yeah, okay, so maybe if you just look at things like Artist Alley, and you only take them as adding awareness within a culturally biased in-group that would already kind of skews towards wanting to take in that sort of media. Adding that kind of awareness, the awareness in and of itself it does have worth. I mean, it's effectively free marketing for the thing.
Well, here's the thing. Look at, say, Star Wars. Star Wars would be a lot smaller if it wasn't for what amounts to fan fiction that someone just said, yeah, sure, you can stick our logo on it if you want.
Yep.
Like, 90% of everything you love about Star Wars in the past is fan fiction, because 90% of it is fan fiction.
Yeah, what's
Other
it?
than that,
The
we have
extended
6 movies.
universe.
The extended universe. Other than that, what do you got? You've got, 6 movies roughly 30 years apart.
2
and
TV
an
shows.
animated Christmas special. And I mean,
You got the 2 TV shows
you wanna-
too, the Clone Wars and such.
Yeah.
oh, yeah. And if you want to argue, hey, that doesn't add anything to the work, then you are provably talking bullshit, because now we're looking at the EU has been, well, not exactly thrown out, but it's not the thing anymore. It's not the
No, I'm
canon.
pretty sure it was decanonized.
If it was
I think
decanonized, they
that's-
wouldn't be pulling things from it into the new universe. What it is
I think
basically they're just
I
picking and
think that's
choosing what they
why.
want.
I think that's why they decanonized it, so they can pick and choose the best bits without it
Well-
conflicting with the canon of the books.
I'll be honest, I've said it before. The EU was also very top-heavy. It was starting to wobble under its own weight quite severely. But they're taking all
We're
of
still
this
talking
stuff
about
from this
Star
extended
Wars, right?
universe. Yes.
Yeah,
and they're
yeah.
bringing it
Political joke.
into... They're bringing it into all of the new stuff now. Like, things are getting rolled into the universe. It's adding economic value, even if it isn't an official thing anymore.
One interesting thing about the extended universe is back in right when they announced that they were going to make more movies. I feel like that was like 94, 95, or 96. They announced they were going to make more movies, and they said, we're going to make some prequels and we're going to make some sequels. That's what they announced in 96. And in the toy stores, there were toys from the extended universe. I have little, like, Micro Machines, minifigure things of Mara Jade and of the, like, Basilisk, what are those, the Mandalorian fighter things?
Sandworms?
And, like,
Oh, no, okay.
like, things and people from the extended universe that were then discontinued, and then, you know, they made the prequel movies, and then that happened. But yeah, they made fairly large amounts of money on things that were basically just, hey, these are some fan things, and we're bringing it into the fold, and, you know, selling it to kids like
Well,
drugs.
they're getting ready to make money on it again.
Yeah, that's double money right there.
It's 2x. It's better.
Also, there was, according to the EU, there was one guy who had a massive impact on galactic events who was literally a giant rabbit in a ship called the Rabbit's Foot, who came from Coachella.
Coachella.
Yep.
I'm not kidding. Well, okay, no, he was from Coachella,
Oh,
but well, no,
excuse me.
close enough. But yeah, it just got so fucking wrapped up in itself, and wangy, and everybody had to have a massive impact on galactic events. So as much as you can contribute with fan works, I think there also needs to be kind of maybe not a line between the two, saying this is definitely this is definitely official, this is definitely unofficial, but maybe if you're going to have a big thing of fan works contributing to your work, you do have to kind of pay attention to it a bit, nurture it like a plant, make sure it doesn't grow into a horrible mess.
Hmm.
So going back a little bit to the economics side of the question, Artist Alley, although, ostensibly artists aren't supposed to be using the, intellectual property of the anime and stuff, at least here in the United States. Japan, forget about it. But in the United States, we're technically not supposed to be infringing on the intellectual property. But yet it's sort of an unspoken, community policy that, yeah, it's totally okay. And the anime distribution companies know about it, of course. So is that acknowledgement, is that turning a blind eye to it, a tacit acknowledgement of the worth of these fan works?
I would say sort of. I would say it depends. In some cases, yes. In some cases, they just don't want the trouble of trying to hit down all the whack-a-moles. I mean, it's the same thing with people sharing music, right? Some musicians see it as oh, free publicity, this is great, I will make more money on my concerts, and they see a direct economic value. Other musicians see it as the worst thing ever, and they're stealing all of my bits from me, and, Metallica. And a lot of musicians are somewhere in the middle, and some of them are, they're like, well, I can't do anything to stop it, so just, don't be a dick about it. And it's all a spectrum.
Okay.
Hey, we solved copyright.
Anything to add, Amanda? You've been fairly quiet.
No, I think they touched it all.
Well, they have a good history of
We're
touching.
very good at touching all the right places, believe me.
All right, then. So we got one more topic on the books, so to speak, but depending on time. No, the show is supposed to be short anyways. Okay, last topic. So
if you think our show is too long, please send your complaints to atw9k@simplysyndicated.com. Fuck it, Jason can deal with the Green Ink Brigade. Sorry, not sorry, brother.
No, not at all sorry. Okay, so last topic. When the world is filled with clouds and life's got you down, what do you do to bring out your happy?
Certainly not fucking think about what just flowed into my ears, you sicko.
Right?
There's a really good They Frank video about bringing out your happy that I think we should link in the show notes. And I think
Nelson, put the link in the chat, and then I'll put it in the show notes.
What do I do?
You go to whatshouldidotoday.com.
That's actually a good. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh no, I just hopped. Oops, sorry, Nelson, go on.
Oh, recently I've been reading politics until I reach the angry point, the event horizon of frustration and anger, and then I just realized, oh, I can't do anything to solve this. Okay, whoosh, and then I kind of float away.
Whoosh, and then
Yes.
you float away like some
Speaking
sort of
of,
humanoid jellyfish.
I just want to take a moment to commemorate the 150th anniversary
Chocolate, yes.
of the ending of the Civil War, which was yesterday, where
yes.
the United States of America defeated the Southern traitors, and then the South won the Battle of the Hearts and Minds over Reconstruction, and everything sucked for 100 more years.
Yep. And then The Dukes of Hazzard was made, and that was a good show.
It was okay.
Just a good old boy.
Yeah, but the good old boys were the problem.
Yeah, this is true.
Hey man, the problem would have never driven a fucking bright orange 69 Charger.
Whoosh.
It was a simpler time, you understand.
Sitting under the weeping willow tree, sipping my sarsaparilla.
Okay, that was Victor's southern plantation owner imitation. So let's move on to different things. Oh no, let's see, what do I do when I want to fucking stop being such a sad sack? Well, there's two things. Occasionally, I go and see someone. Because, you know, it doesn't matter how fucking hard of a dude you are or how badass of a lady you are. Sometimes you just, you know, you need a bit of help to get yourself going, you know? You need someone to talk to who actually knows what the fuck they're talking about and isn't just going to say, well, eat a fucking cheesecake, you'll cheer up. You just need to cheer up. You'll be fine. And yes, I have eaten whole cheesecakes to cheer myself up. All I did was make myself sick.
Not your proudest moment, Churba.
Well, I don't know. I was pretty proud of those cheesecakes. I make a bitchin' cheesecake, let me tell you. But, no, the other thing I do is I just get in the mighty van and fucking drive. Drive and drive and drive and drive and drive and drive and drive. I've put thousands and thousands of miles of depression driving on that vehicle.
It was just, I pointed at you, that you like to drive.
I really like, now that Tarantino has kind of finished making his slew of crazy revenge fantasies, I've been sort of rewatching them. Pretty good. Like, if you're like, oh man, I really hate these, you know, insert bad people, and you just like, let's watch Hitler just get wrecked. And you feel so much better.
Come into walls. That's funny.
For me, I like building stuff. Nothing brings out my happy more than getting a wrench and a screwdriver in my hand and just building the fuck out of something.
See, I'm okay with that, but most of my expertise in building stuff lies with heavy machinery, and a lathe will kill you faster than you know you're dead. I don't want to be fucking with a lathe when I'm a bit down and not paying all the attention I should be.
Yeah, it's true.
Do not operate heavy machinery when you're feeling shitty. You will fuck yourself up real bad.
I find whenever I'm feeling shitty, I'm usually working on my bike, adding yet another crazy thing onto it.
Hey, did I ever tell you about the time I stabbed myself in both legs by accident?
No, but
Did you
will
do it
now.
simultaneously or just one at a time? Just like.
Oh no, one at a time, and that makes it all the dumber.
Okay.
Because,
come on.
like, back when I was an apprentice to a mechanic, one of my jobs was to cut up old tires that couldn't be used anymore. And what you do is you take the tire and you put it on the rim machine. And it's basically just a machine with a little toothed plate on it that holds the rim steady while you put the tire on with levers and so on and so forth, and it also rotates. So what you do is you whack... No, the balancing machine is different.
Okay.
The balancing machine, the wheel is already on the... come on, brain. The wheel is already on the rim, and you spin it to balance it. It's a bit different. But anyway, you put it on this machine, it slowly turns around, but to destroy old tires so they can't be used, you cut the sidewalls out. So you whack it on the machine, stick a knife in, and just hold it there while you let the machine rotate. I'm doing this, and, you know, not paying too much attention. I let the angle on the knife get a bit off, and whoop, bang! Stab myself in the friggin' leg. Oh, you know, bit of annoyance. I go, I whack a bit of super glue on it, whack a bandage over it, it's fine. Everyone has jokes at my expense, as they do. And a couple of days later, I'm doing the same thing again, cutting tires. I'm like, I'll be tricky. I'll stand a bit sideways, and like I've done everything I could to make sure I don't stab myself in the leg. I'm cutting tires. They've made the jokes. Oh, don't stab yourself again. Oh, yeah, fucking bastards. Immediately stabbed myself in the other leg in exactly the same spot.
You're the grade A comedy, Churbs.
Yeah, it would be if that wasn't
just to,
such a long and rambling story. And I did say last show, I do know how to destroy tires.
Yes, you did. Just to bounce back to answer a question put up by Jared Banta, he asked, Victor, in dismissing Japan, are you saying that they're okay with it or that they're not okay with it? I ask because the Japanese producers are generally okay with fan-created projects, doujinshi, as long as they don't make too much money. And yes, that is exactly what I'm saying, that they are okay with it because of that reason. And actually, legally, it's allowed. So...
You also have to consider that a lot of doujinshi is made by the artists who own the rights to that work.
Yeah.
It's
not like here where you sign a publishing contract and you sign your life away.
And you say goodbye to all.
Yeah, they do tend to retain the rights to a creation a lot more. While, pardon me, while you do still see works which are developments that don't involve the original creator, quite often the original creator has basically said, yes, you can do this, rather than the company coming back and saying, we are taking this from you.
Yeah.
Also, Ray Hero, the Black Lagoon guy, needs to stop making porn and make some fucking Black Lagoon again. Jesus Christ, finish the Black Wildcard art, you motherfucker. Ray Hero, I'm talking to you. Come on, man, I need my fix.
Go work with Trigger. They'll keep you on track.
He just needs some fucking big smelly bastard there with a club, and every time he starts drawing like a dick on something, just club the shit out of him. We don't need more Helsing porn, guys. Come on.
I'll give him some Pavlovian training.
Oh, dear.
Okay, well, that was a good show, and for I think the first time since we started this season, we actually stayed true to having a short show. So with that in mind, do any of you have something you want to plug? Churba?
Not really.
Okay, Nelson.
All right, so I have something for all the programmer in the audience, singular. If you use Node.js or IO.js or JavaScript in any capacity, and you have templates that you want to put data in, but you're like, oh, I don't know what templating language I should use. They're all really dumb. I want to use Jade, but this other guy's using Nunjucks, but this other guy's using EJS. I don't know what to do. Well, I and my coworkers built a cool little thing, a little module, if you will, for Node that is called multiplex templates. And you can put a template in any other kind of template and pass data through and do cool stuff. It's really
dog. I heard you like templates.
Yeah.
See, I know what those words mean when they're individually there. Strung together in this construction.
It's all just semicolons,
I have no
man.
idea what
It's just semicolons.
I know what you're saying.
It's all just semicolons and brackets to me.
Yep.
Okay. I do actually have something to plug that I've thought about it for like more than a quarter of a second. Also, we do have
Whenever you're ready.
We do have a comment. Apparently, Tires did eventually get their revenge on me. It's true.
Yes.
But anyway, two plugs. First of all, there was an article on Vice's Motherboard blog, and far be it from me to plug Vice in any fucking way. That's
But
positive.
Motherboard is pretty good.
Yeah, not this one. I'm basically pointing you at this one for an example of how not to do a pop culture article. It is an article about the scanslation community versus the manga industry, and it is just garbage. The fact checkers were not just out to lunch. I think maybe they might have thrown them in the same prison that Vice got John McAfee fucking thrown into.
Uh,
Yeah,
The writers of the art. The writers of the article set forth to write their piece, and then the fact-checkers had a sudden and fatal heart attack.
I think this piece might have fucking caused it. But yeah, no, it was garbage. Go check it out and just go, look, this is not how to write an article. Nothing about this is true. It's just nonsense. The other thing that I should probably plug... No! Oh, Christ. Yeah, we're having a technical issue here for a moment in my head. Yeah, kids, don't take a job where you work too much like this and you actually sleep. God damn it. Okay, the other thing I'm going to plug is a small piece of software that uses JavaScript. So, yay, happy days for Nelson and his
The
people.
best script.
Yes, maybe. I don't know. What the fuck do I look like? Anyway, it is called AMR, All Mangas Reader. If you use Chrome, it is a plugin that basically keeps track of all the manga you could possibly read on just about every scan site there is to read it on. And it is very handy. It does, chapter page display, all sorts of other neat features. Go and pick it up, because maybe if enough people actually pick it up, we can get development going a little faster, because it is also open source. You can check that shit out on GitHub. You can make your own forks. You can do like I did and pick up the implementation section for all the manga websites and stare at the JavaScript, because I can't do anything with JavaScript.
Churba, why don't you give me a link to your list of reading manga?
I can't.
Oh, I thought you shared
It
it
is-
like a while ago.
Oh, I do. It's just that it's not really something linkable. It's an enormous text file full of code to be imported into
Alright.
AMR.
All right, toss it up on Pastebin or something.
Yeah, I'll paste it or something like that. If people want about 400 manga to get themselves started.
Okay. Amanda, do you have anything interesting you'd like to share with the listening audience?
You're funny. I was thrown into this like 5 minutes before this show started.
What, you think these guys prepare?
I
You're joking.
should show you my 5 pages of notes. I've got
5 pages of
Disney,
notes,
I've got Game of Thrones game. All of this has
Like
been
hell you
orchestrated.
do.
Don't you lie to me. They're just fast food menus that you want us to pick from after the show.
That's true.
Okay, well, how about I pick something on your behalf that I think you'd like to share?
Okay, whatever.
If it's your
there
own
is-
fucking show, I'm going to beat you to death.
No, what? No. There is a cool webcomic called Ava's Demon, and it's really good. And they update fairly slowly, but you can pretty much get through the whole thing in one sitting to date, and it's pretty good. You should check it out.
It's real good.
Amanda, have you ever actually read this comic?
I actually have. Yeah.
Good. Okay.
So he's not
Yeah,
just making
yeah.
a
You
crap
see, huh? Yeah, huh?
Yeah, you got me this time. I'll get you next time,
Yeah.
Gadget.
up. That one's funny.
I'll get you next time, Gadget.
Is that how you feel about it?
Yeah,
Alright then.
yeah, pretty much. Okay, and I do have a thing of my own to plug. One of my favorite games in the whole wide world, Dirt 3, recently got patched to get rid of the stupid games for Windows Live and get fully integrated into Steamworks. And it's available on Steam, so you should get it. It's like $30 with all the DLC, I think. So
Cool.
you should totally get that. And then you can play with me and Churba on racing games.
Yes.
So,
Or more
so
accurately, you
just
can
always
play
win?
more accurately, you can play the stunt playground while me and Victor play dumb games and do power slides.
Anyone who plays against this weirdo.
Amanda is convinced I'm some sort of racing game god.
Not quite. You're just annoyingly good at them.
You should go and get him to show you his profile on Grid 2. Our times tend to be within like
I'm
about
good.
2 seconds of each other, and they tend to be
I don't
behind
want to
mine.
Yeah, No, honestly,
You're ridiculous?
he's typically about a second or two behind.
Yeah, well, I figure anyone who plays with you and enjoys it is equally ridiculous.
Yeah. Okay, well, that's it for the show today. Thank you to Nelson and Churba, and a special thanks to Amanda, who I effectively shanghaied onto the show. And we will see you all next week on Friday Night on Acceptable Vices.
Wait, where'd they be seeing us? We can't see them.
You're gonna be. We'll be seeing them because we get. Good night, everybody.